Sharon Osbourne is finally speaking out, sharing the sad and personal last moments of her late husband, Ozzy Osbourne. For the first time, she tells about the deep feelings, the quiet struggles, and the loving moments that marked the end of the popular rocker's life. From sleepless nights to his final words, Sharon lets viewers see inside their home during those last hours, showing a side of Ozzy the world rarely knew. What did he say in those last days, and how did Sharon handle the hard truth that her husband's time was ending? Join us in this video as we reveal the details. Sharon Osbourne reveals Ozzy's heartbreaking moments. Sharon Osbourne provided an extended account of her husband, Ozzy Osbourne, during the final months of his life. Her recollections reflect not only the physical toll on Ozzy Osbourne, but also the emotional and mental resolve that he maintained during this challenging period. Sharon Osbourne explains that Ozzy Osbourne experienced pneumonia multiple times over a short period. Each episode, she said, significantly affected his lungs and overall strength. In addition to pneumonia, he developed sepsis, a life-threatening condition that she describes as the illness that destroyed him. She emphasized the severity of this illness, explaining that it required a rigorous and exhausting antibiotic regimen. Sharon Osbourne reported that these treatments involved doses that took around 20 minutes to administer and were given twice daily. She stated that while the antibiotics were necessary to fight infection, they were extremely harsh on his body, effectively attacking the good and the bad. She notes that the cumulative effect left him physically weakened, drained, and unable to regain his full strength, making everyday movement and activity a struggle. Despite these severe health challenges, Sharon Osbourne describes how Ozzy Osbourne remained determined to perform. When meeting a new medical team in England, she states that the lead doctor explicitly warned Ozzy Osbourne that performing another show could be fatal. Sharon Osbourne recalled that the doctor was very direct and very clear, explaining that if he went ahead, the chances of survival were slim. She emphasized that Ozzy Osbourne fully understood the risk, but he made a conscious choice to go forward. According to Sharon Osbourne, he expressed a deep personal need to complete one final performance as a way to thank his fans for their support over decades. She recalls him saying that he did not want to die on stage, yet he still wanted to deliver one last show that would be memorable, meaningful, and a final celebration of his life and career. Sharon Osbourne highlighted the immense joy that Ozzy Osbourne experienced after performance in Birmingham. She states that he was overwhelmed by the love and support he received from fans, and he spent the following days reading newspapers, articles, and messages about himself. Sharon Osbourne said that he was amazed to realize how deeply people cared about him, and she described this short period as the happiest he had been in 7 years. She noted that during these days, Ozzy Osbourne smiled more freely, laughed more readily, and expressed a rare lightness that had not been seen in him for a long time. Sharon Osbourne emphasized that, even in the face of serious illness and ongoing physical pain, the positive reactions from fans and emotional energy of the final show had given him a remarkable sense of fulfillment and joy. She also noted that during this time, Ozzy Osbourne began reporting unusual and vivid dreams. According to Sharon Osbourne, he described seeing people he had never met, silent and motionless, in these nightly visions. Sharon Osbourne interpreted these dreams as a sign that Ozzy Osbourne was becoming aware of his own mortality. She recalled how he spoke about walking among these figures repeatedly, night after night, and expressed a quiet acceptance that he was approaching the end of his life. Sharon Osbourne indicated that these dreams did not frighten him, but seemed to prepare him for the inevitable, giving him a sense of peace amid his physical decline. Sharon Osbourne also described the intense public response to Ozzy Osbourne's final show. She reported large crowds, emotional scenes, and a visible outpouring of admiration from fans. She emphasized that the support was not only national but also international, showing the deep affection people had for him. According to Sharon Osbourne, Ozzy Osbourne was authentically happy and humbled by this recognition. He understood that he was loved not only for his music, but for who he was as a person, someone genuine, funny, and authentic. Sharon Osbourne repeatedly highlighted that, even in his final weeks, Ozzy Osbourne maintained a profound connection to his audience, showing both gratitude and humility. Sharon Osbourne stressed that Ozzy Osbourne's final performance was carefully planned and deeply meaningful. She explained that he wanted the show to be perfect in every way, with his family nearby and friends around him, as well as tens of thousands of fans. She emphasized that this period reflected the essence of Ozzy Osbourne, someone who loved performing, loved entertaining, and loved the people who supported him. As joyous and triumphant as those final days seemed, what happened in the quiet, unseen moments of his last morning? Let's delve deeper. Sharon Osbourne's recollection of Ozzy Osbourne's final morning. Sharon Osbourne's account of the final morning of Ozzy Osbourne's life is detailed and emotionally raw. She describes how he woke very early that day, requesting a kiss and a tight hug. Sharon Osbourne notes that this was consistent with his usual behavior, as he often woke early to exercise. That morning, he went downstairs for his routine workout, which she says lasted approximately 20 minutes. Sharon Osbourne reports that this was followed by a sudden and fatal heart attack, ending his life in the early hours. She explains that she immediately realized he was gone, even while medical personnel attempted resuscitation, and he was transported by helicopter to a hospital. Sharon Osbourne states that despite all efforts, it was clear that his life had ended. She describes the shock, disbelief, and deep sorrow she experienced in that moment. She also reflects on the intense feelings of regret and the questions that filled her mind, such as whether she had done enough to show her love and support. Despite knowing she had consistently expressed her love, held him close, and supported him, she acknowledges that grief brought a strong sense of if only and what if that weighed heavily on her heart. Sharon Osbourne also reflects on a long history she shared with Ozzy Osbourne. She states that their connection spanned over 50 years, beginning in the 1970s when Ozzy Osbourne's band faced financial difficulties. She describes how she became involved in their management and how a strong personal connection developed between them over time. Sharon Osbourne emphasizes that their partnership, both professional and personal, was marked by unusual strength, intense devotion, and shared humor. She notes that despite the challenges in their relationship, they were deeply committed to one another, describing their marriage as filled with love, understanding, and companionship. Sharon Osbourne reports that after Ozzy Osbourne's passing, she felt as though a part of her own being had been removed. She describes a constant emotional weight, a sense that life was permanently altered, and the challenge of living each day in the shadow of profound loss. She notes that grief has become a persistent companion, something she must live with, learn from, and move forward alongside. Sharon Osbourne emphasizes the crucial role of her children and grandchildren during this period. She reports that they have been magnificent in supporting her, and she says that their presence has been a key factor in helping her continue after such a heartbreaking loss. In addition to her reflections on grief, Sharon Osbourne describes Ozzy Osbourne's personality in his final months. She notes that he was unpredictable, humorous, affectionate, and thoughtful, often sending small messages to people he cared about. These simple acts of communication reflected his warmth, kindness, and ability to connect with others even in the final stage of his life. Sharon Osbourne emphasizes that these qualities were consistent throughout his life and remained present even as his health deteriorated. Sharon Osbourne also recalls that during the 2 weeks after the final performance, Ozzy Osbourne was extraordinarily happy. She notes that it was a rare period of pure contentment and joy, the brightest he had experienced in years. Sharon Osbourne emphasizes that this time demonstrated the depth of Ozzy Osbourne's emotional connection to his audience and fulfillment he felt in completing one last meaningful performance. Finally, Sharon Osbourne reflects on a combination of love, loss, and memory that defines her current emotional state. She reports that her grief is intertwined with gratitude for having shared a life with Ozzy Osbourne, admiration for his courage and determination, and acknowledgement of the impact he had on those around him. She emphasizes that while his death was a profound and life-changing event, the memory of his humor, authenticity, and love remains deeply embedded in her life. Sharon Osbourne also underscores the importance of family support, noting that without her children and grandchildren, coping with the loss of her husband would have been nearly impossible. Overall, Sharon Osbourne's account provides a comprehensive and emotionally detailed perspective on Ozzy Osbourne's final period of life. Her reflections also highlight the profound connection they shared over more than 50 years, the support of family, and the ongoing impact of his life and death on her emotional well-being. This account presents a human and emotional understanding of Ozzy Osbourne's final months and the enduring grief of Sharon Osbourne, illustrating both the challenges of facing terminal illness and the love and dedication that defined their long life together. How could Sharon turn Ozzy's dying wish into reality? And what would it take to give the Prince of Darkness one final moment on stage? Let's learn more. Sharon Osbourne's final gift, the last performance of Ozzy Osbourne in the latter months of her husband Ozzy Osbourne's life. Sharon Osbourne was important. To add to being his wife, she served as his manager, bodyguard, and the person who made sure that his last requests were granted. Sharon took charge of everything during Ozzy's health failure, including his care and the plans for his final public show. To ensure he could play one last time safely, she worked with doctors, producers, event planners, and other artists. Sharon was hell-bent on fulfilling his dream in spite of doctors and friends warning that it was risky. She saw the importance of the show for Ozzy and the impact it would have on him, their family, and his supporters. On July 5th, 2025, the Back to the Beginning concert, the last performance, was held at Villa Park in Birmingham. Ozzy's health did not allow him to stand or move easily, so Sharon arranged for him to perform while seated on a specially made black steel throne. This allowed him to sing and appear on stage without risking his health, giving him a chance to finish his career on his own terms. Sharon reunited the original members of Black Sabbath for the concert, Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, and Bill Ward, bringing back the band that helped Ozzy start his career. She also invited other famous rock bands, including Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Judas Priest, and Anthrax. These groups had all been influenced by Ozzy's music, and their participation showed how much impact he had on rock history. From the stage design to the music, Sharon carefully arranged the event to make sure that it respected Ozzy's career and his desire to really bid his fans farewell. Some of Ozzy's most popular songs, like Crazy Train and Mama, I'm Coming Home, were on the set list. Fans had a chance to see him one last time as the artist they had adored for decades, despite the fact that his body was weak and his voice was weaker. Very excited, the audience cheered, sobbed, and joined in on the song. It was more than just a concert. It was a farewell, a last celebration, and a chance for Ozzy and those who had supported him throughout his career to connect. Birmingham was very important in this farewell. The city where Ozzy was born honored him in a lot of ways. The streets were filled with banners and murals, and one central bridge was named the Osbourne Bridge in his honor. His successes were also noted in public areas, radio stations, and schools. The city turned into a living homage to him, linking his image as a worldwide music star with his upbringing in a working-class neighborhood. To attend the show, fans traveled for days from all over the world. They stood for plenty of generations whose lives have been influenced by Ozzy's music, by bringing albums, clothes, tattoos, and memories. The concert would not have been possible without Sharon Osbourne's loyalty. She worked silently on every aspect, always staying up late while everyone else slept. She organized rehearsals, spoke with medical doctors to guarantee Ozzy could play safely, and made sure that every element of the event honored both his heritage and his medical need. Ozzy's desire to offer fans one final performance was fulfilled thanks to her efforts, which allowed him to exit the stage with dignity. The concert was a cultural event for the fans and the music industry in addition to being a personal present from Sharon to Ozzy. It gave everyone a chance to honor the man's decades of influence and see him one more time. In the face of loss, Sharon's act showed how a loved one can keep memory, legacy, and dignity. The Back to Beginning concert was both a farewell and a testament to Ozzy's enduring impact on music, his fans, and the city that shaped him. How did Ozzy Osbourne spend his final days? And what moments of love, reflection, and clarity define the last 72 hours of the Prince of Darkness's life? Let's find out. A Life Remembered. Ozzy Osbourne's final 72 hours, the last 3 days of Ozzy Osbourne's life, from July 19th to July 22nd, 2025, have been described by family, friends, and medical staff as a remarkable period filled with love, reflection, and clarity. According to his wife, Sharon Osbourne, Ozzy woke on July 19th with an unexpected sharpness of mind, despite the advanced Parkinson's disease that had made movement and speech difficult. Sharon said he seemed to have found energy and focus that had been missing for months. His palliative care doctor confirmed this was a rare phenomenon sometimes seen in dying patients, where the mind and body rally one last time, called terminal lucidity. Ozzy's case was unusual for how long and how strong this clarity lasted. On that Saturday morning, Ozzy asked Sharon to gather all 6 of their children, Kelly, Jack, Amy, Jessica, Louis, and Elliot, for an important family meeting. He spoke with urgency, wanting to share things he had never said before. Each child described deeply personal moments with their father. Kelly recalled that Ozzy asked her to sit with him and share memories of her childhood, praise her achievements, and apologize for the times he had been absent due to illness or personal struggles. Jack said his father spent hours talking about his own recovery from addiction, expressing pride in the man Jack had become. Amy emphasized that Ozzy repeatedly said his greatest accomplishment was his children, not his music or fame. Saturday evening was spent with Ozzy and Sharon looking through photo albums from their life together. He recalled early dates, special family milestones, and ordinary moments that had meant a lot to him. He spoke about the first dress Sharon wore when they met, the song that was playing, and the nervousness he felt asking her out. He expressed pride in their family and the life they had created, describing their children as beautiful souls. On Sunday, Ozzy reached out to friends, colleagues, and even past rivals to express love, gratitude, and reconciliation. He called band members from Black Sabbath, including Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, and Bill Ward, as well as other musicians and friends. Dr. Morrison and family members said these calls were not about seeking comfort for himself, but about providing closure for others. Alice Cooper described their conversation as the most profound he had ever had with anyone. Ozzy also requested music that had inspired him, from the Beatles to Led Zeppelin and the Stones, as well as bands influenced by Black Sabbath. Family members said he shared stories about the creation of famous songs like Iron Man and Paranoid, explaining their personal meaning and how they reflected his fears, struggles, and triumphs. Monday, July 21st, was Ozzy's last full day of alertness. He spent much of the day dictating letters to his grandchildren, leaving them messages of love, pride, and guidance. Sharon described the letters as filled with tenderness and wisdom, encouraging the children to be kind, brave, and remember that they carried a part of him with them. Ozzy also spent time in the garden he and Sharon had cared for, talking about planting flowers and watching them grow. He asked Sharon to maintain it as a living memory of their private happiness. That evening, Ozzy asked his family to sing songs meaningful to them, including Amazing Grace, which he associated with redemption and peace. Each family member selected a song that held special memories, and the atmosphere was one of celebration rather than sorrow. He also spoke of friends who had passed, especially Randy Rhoads, saying he felt ready to reunite with them, and he accepted death with peace and curiosity. Ozzy's final hours on July 22nd were spent surrounded by family, friends, and close visitors. He listened to letters from fans and reflections from loved ones, showing attention and appreciation even as he became weaker. Sharon said he appeared to be conducting his own final moments, holding on until he could say goodbye to specific people. At around 11:30 a.m., Ozzy looked at each family member, whispered his love and gratitude, and peacefully passed away after a few calm breaths. Sharon described his death as gentle and full of love. In conclusion, Ozzy Osbourne's last 72 hours were marked by unexpected mental clarity, emotional depth, and acts of love. He spent his final days expressing gratitude, repairing relationships, sharing memories, and leaving messages for future generations. His death was peaceful, purposeful, and reflective of a life fully lived, leaving a legacy of love and care that extended far beyond his music. How did Ozzy Osbourne use his final days not just to say goodbye, but also to give back and make a lasting impact through his charity work? Stay tuned for more. Ozzy Osbourne, A Life of Love, Legacy, and Generosity. Ozzy Osbourne, the famous heavy metal singer known as the Prince of Darkness, passed away at the age of 76 after a long battle with Parkinson's disease and injuries from a serious fall, his family confirmed. His passing marked the end of a life filled with both incredible successes and deeply human events. His final days, according to those close to him, were a mixture of reflection, love, and acceptance of what was ahead. They said he was a man who calmly and bravely confronted death. Ozzy had a gentle and soft-hearted side, especially when it came to kids and animals, regardless of his image as a rough and chaotic performer. He and his wife Sharon filled their home with needy animals by rescuing a lot of dogs and cats throughout the course of their lives. His passion for these animals was clear in the patience and kindness with which he treated them. Rocky was his favorite dog out of all of his pets. Ozzy was especially close to Rocky, who was his friend. Ozzy was heartbroken when Rocky passed away in August 2024. This showed how much he could feel and care deeply, even with all the stress of fame and his health problems. Ozzy was also known for his generosity toward others. He gave back to his community in big ways. All the money from his farewell concert, called Back to the Beginning, about $190 million, was donated to charity. The money was split between Birmingham Children's Hospital, Acorns Children's Hospice, and Cure Parkinson's, which is working to find a cure for the disease he had been fighting since 2019. He also sold his own artwork to raise money to help chimpanzees. These acts of giving showed that Ozzy wanted to make a difference in the world. He did not just think about himself. He wanted to leave a positive mark for the people and animals who needed help. Family was the most important part of Ozzy's life. He had a long marriage with Sharon, who he married in 1982. They were together for more than 40 years. Their marriage had ups and downs, and there were very difficult times. Ozzy struggled with his mental health, and at one point hurt Sharon during a psychotic episode. He also cheated on her for several years. But Sharon stayed with him in spite of everything. Ozzy never stopped to express his thanks and affection for her. He always referred to her as his soulmate and claimed that she was the most important individual in his life. In the end, their relationship showed loyalty, forgiveness, and the profound connection they shared despite the intense emotions of love, rage, envy, and happiness. Ozzy's impact went beyond his family and music. Through the people he touched, the animals he looked after, and the good he did for the world, he created a legacy that will live on. Fans and musicians worldwide were inspired by his music, which forever changed rock and metal. But stardom wasn't the only aspect of his legacy. It was about charity, love, and kindness. He showed that it was possible for someone who looked wild and untouchable to be kind, thoughtful, and soft. According to those who knew him, Ozzy's love for his family, the lives he impacted through his music, and his assistance to needy people and animals were the most important aspect of him. In the end, Ozzy Osbourne's life was honest, passionate, and full. Despite his flaws, he had a great heart. Despite his sins, he tried to make amends and spread love wherever he could. In addition to being a rock star, his loved ones, admirers, and friends will remember him as a man who gave his all to the people and things that mattered to him. Ozzy Osbourne will always be remembered for his music, his family, his charitable deeds, and the love he shared. His life is a story of passion, generosity, and the power of love, showing that even someone who lived as loudly and fiercely as he did could also be gentle, kind, and deeply human. How did Ozzy Osbourne's family and fans come together to honor him during his final farewell and burial in Birmingham? Let's take a closer look. A fitting farewell. Ozzy Osbourne's burial and final tribute in Birmingham. Ozzy Osbourne, the famous heavy metal singer's death, left a huge mark on his family, fans, and the entire music world. According to his wife, Sharon Osbourne, thousands of people came out to show their respect and say goodbye to Ozzy. They filled the streets of Birmingham, his hometown, where he had lived much of his life. Fans gathered along the Black Sabbath Bridge in Broad Street, leaving many flowers, letters, and personal messages for him. Ozzy's importance to people worldwide was showed by this public tribute. People were remembering his songs and performances and the person who created the legend, and the streets were teeming with love, sorrow, and emotion. Sharon was part of the parade with their kids, Jack and Kelly. They watched how much Ozzy was loved by the fans as they strolled among them. During this period, Sharon talked about being overcome with emotion. It was clear that Ozzy had touched many lives, not just through his music, but through his presence, his personality, and his long career in heavy metal. In her first major television interview since Ozzy's passing, Sharon opened up about the feelings she still carries. She spoke honestly about the deep love she had for him and the emptiness she now feels. Sharon said she will never marry again. She explained that her chapter with Ozzy was closed, and she could not imagine being with anyone else after sharing a lifetime with him. On what would have been Ozzy's 77th birthday, she posted a special tribute online. In it, she said that she would never let go of his hand until she could see him again on the other side. These words shows the depth of their relationship. Despite all the highs and lows during their more than 40 years of marriage, their bond stayed solid. People can better understand the depth of love that existed in their relationship, as well as the pain of losing a loved one thanks to Sharon's comments. Her memorial honors a love that endures beyond death, a love that is strong and solid. The public's response to Ozzy's passing and his funeral shows the full scope of his impact. People of all ages adored him despite the fact that he was a performer known for his wild performances and loud music. Thousands of fans, young and old, showed up to honor him. They left messages, flowers, and personal notes to remember his life and music. Sharon and the children saw this love firsthand and were moved by it. Fans' memories filled Broad Street and the Black Sabbath Bridge, showing the impact Ozzy's music and personality had on the world. This public grief was about more than just the passing of a popular individual. It was about a guy who had spent decades inspiring, uplifting, and bringing joy to others. Every flower, message, and memory that day bore witness to Ozzy's legacy. Sharon's thoughts also reveal Ozzy's private side, which others might not always be able to see. He is more than just a musical icon, according to her. He was a father, a husband, and a human being who had challenges, but also love, kindness, and humor. Sharon's choice not to remarry emphasizes the depth of their relationship and the unique place Ozzy held in her life. The public celebration of his life, combined with Sharon's personal memories and tributes, shows that Ozzy Osbourne will be remembered in many ways. He will be remembered as a musician, a father, a husband, and someone who touched millions of people around the world. Even after his death, Ozzy's influence remained strong. Fans continue to honor him, share memories, and celebrate his music. Sharon's words and actions, especially her tribute on his birthday, keep his memory alive. She shows the world that even when someone is gone, their love and impact remain. Ozzy Osbourne's funeral, the thousands of fans who paid tribute, and Sharon's personal reflections all make it clear that his life and legacy will never be forgotten. His memory lives on through his music, his family, and the millions of people who loved him. He was a legend, and his story continues to inspire and touch hearts all over the world. What do you think about the final heartbreaking moments of Ozzy Osbourne? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Thank you for joining us as we explore the final moments of Ozzy Osbourne's extraordinary life. We hope you found this tribute moving and insightful. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Click the next video on your screen to continue celebrating the lives of your favorite celebrities. See you there.